Alright, welcome everyone to another NizCast presentation. I, of course, am Niz, and we're ready to cast some of the Semi-Pro Cup Series. We've got the semifinals to start things off tonight. We've got Team Tatsu going up against skuGGi. I don't know how to pronounce that, but they're going to be on our Radiant side, going under the name of Rixon Slayer, and the previously mentioned Tatsu is going to be eSphere Online. Actually, sorry, swap that around. I mixed it up to start things off. We've got Tatsu, they're on the Radiant side, they're Rixon Slayer, and eSphere Online is actually skuGGi, however you want to pronounce that. But yeah, we're in the semifinals. This is the last SCS of the month, so that means $100 is on the line to the winner. We already have one team waiting in the grand finals for the winner of this game, and that is 4 Goons and Noble Winks, as they actually played up against a team by the name of Wolves, which was pretty stacked, to be honest. And that was in the semifinals. It was Pandago, Dark Falco, Purge, Tyken, and
Radiant team.
I'm blanking on the 5th player, but I'm sure that'll come to me soon. But yeah, they had a pretty formidable opponent in the semifinals, and 4 Goons and Noble Wings pretty much walked all over them to get to the grand final. So whichever team wins this is going to have their work cut out for them in the grand finals, going up against a very, very hot 4 Goons and Noble Wings. But let's quickly catch up in this draft because it was going very, very quickly. I was still getting the stream up and getting everything set. So let's just fly through it real quick. We'll go through the bands first. Death Prophet, Invoker, Nature's Prophet, and Tidehunter banned out by eSphere. We have Outroll Devour, Broodmother, Slark, and Phantom Lancer banned out by Rixon Slayer. As for our picks, we had Beastmaster, Lion, Tusk, and Windranger for eSphere. Spectre, Zeus, Earth Spirit, and Witch Doctor were the picks for Rixon Slayer. That catches us up with where we are right now. But yeah, there's been a lot going on in the Dota world. So I'd like to briefly kind of cover that, but it looks like we may have to wait until the grand final. So talk a little bit about what's been going on in the Dota world. As like I said, this draft is moving very, very quickly. We have Lone Druid getting banned out by Rixon Slayer. As for the heroes that have been picked so far, obviously Rixon Slayer, they've got their Spectre, a very, very hot pick for a safe lane carry. Zeus, typically played in the mid lane, and then Earth Spirit and Witch Doctor typically played as supports, with Earth Spirit playing that more roaming around kind of support.
Radiant team pick.
So we expect Rixon Slayer to be looking for an offlaner here, and we see one of the potential heroes getting banned out there with the Faceless Void. As for eSphere Online, they've got the Beastmaster, so strong offlaner. Tusk kind of plays that role similar to the Earth Spirit in that position for roaming around. Could always kind of go in the off lane with Beastmaster to start things off, and then Beastmaster kind of falls back to that extra neutral camp in the off lane on the Dire side of the map. We haven't really seen too much of that since that patch first came out, where that camp was added, and we haven't really seen Beastmasters really fall back to that and then have a hero like a Tusk rotate into that. Certainly we've been seeing Beastmasters make use of that, but we haven't really seen them using dual lanes to do that too much. But yeah, Frumpo just let me know Justin was the 5th player on Wolves, so thank you, Frumpo, in the chat. But yeah, so we expect the Tusk to kind of be roaming around. Lion, of course, going to be that other support. Windranger, we expect to be in the mid lane, and eSphere, that leaves them with just a safe lane carry for them to pick up here. We see the offlaner did get picked up by Rixon Slayer. That's going to be the Darkseer. So what that tells me right now is, you know, they've got good kind of mid-game potential with the Zeus, the Earth Spirit, and the Witch Doctor, and then Spectre can always haunt in. But Darkseer kind of doesn't really mesh with that kind of playstyle. Darkseer likes to push and put pressure on lanes kind of in that early to mid-game transition period, which is so important in the current meta. And he doesn't really mesh with kind of grouping with the team and then having Spectre haunt on in, but he does have a way of putting pressure on lanes, which will also help to kind of spread eSphere out across the map, which could create more opportunities for those other heroes to potentially go for a 3v whatever scenario, and then have Spectre haunt in to make it 4. But last pick is in for eSphere. It's going to be a Sven, so that's going to round out their roster, and immediately we hop into the game as we already have Darkseer TPing up to the top lane to get an early ward down. But let's introduce the teams and the players. As on our Radiant side, we've got Rixon Slayer, and we've got 14+2 playing the Spectre for them. PZD is going to be playing the Zeus. As for the Darkseer that we saw TP up to the top lane, that's going to be Schwan. We've got Dig playing the Earth Spirit. And last but not least, we've got a name that unfortunately I'm not going to be able to pronounce. Don't know how to read Chinese or Mandarin or whatever that is. But he's going to be playing the Witch Doctor. As for our Dire side, it's going to be Team eSphere. We've got Nera playing the Sven. The Wind Ranger is going to be played by Mikado Sky. Benny's going to be playing the Beastmaster. He ran into the Spectre as he was making his way down to the Radiant Jungle, but didn't look like there was too much of a clash between those heroes. We've got Taba is mad. Taba is mad. There we go. He's going to be playing the Lion. And last but not least, we've got skuGGi playing the Tusk. And that should round it up for our players. As for our starting items, nothing really standing out on first glance for me. Both teams starting with a set of sentries. Oh no, Radiant's not starting with a set of sentries, but we do have a set of sentries on the Tusk. But looks like both teams have claimed a bounty rune each, Wind Ranger and Zeus getting them. So both expected mid laners having their bounty runes. And already a lot of observer wards getting placed in the middle lane. We've got Dire side covering kind of the bottom rune location. Then we've got Radiant giving them vision across the river to kind of give Zeus a little bit of vision so he can nuke down that Wind Ranger. And look at Wind Ranger also has an observer ward on her side of the river, which needs to be a little bit careful because once Lightning Bolt comes out, one nuke could immediately give Zeus that knowledge of that observer ward being there. But Schwan in the top lane, he was in a little bit of a dangerous situation, but looks like he's going to be okay. The two supports didn't scout him out. This is where Schwan placed his ward when he TP'd on up here. And they're going to drop a sentry ward, trying to catch his ward, not going to find it. As they're doing this reacting to the position of Darkseer, knowing the fact that when they came up to this point, he had not pushed up in the lane. They suspected that he was still down below this kind of point and standing back by the tower, so obviously he had knowledge of them making a rotation in. But they were wrong because he was hiding in those trees, but that's the kind of information that was given. Now we did see the two supports here smoke up. They were kind of scouted by the observer ward there when they smoked up, but I think they were out of vision, so you had to actually be looking there. And here we go. They're going to snowball on in, and PZD is in trouble. We're going to have immediately 2 TPs coming in from the supports of Rixon Slayer, and it's going to be enough to keep the Zeus alive. In fact, just the Earth Spirit was enough. But Witch Doctor did complete his TP as well, making sure that they weren't going to lose their mid-hero. But a good smoke gank attempt coming out from eSphere. Unfortunately, this time not really panning out for them. And based on how that was played out, it almost leads me to believe that maybe they saw that rotation coming. Whether they had actually spotted the smoke when it was used here, or that was just Schwan kind of communicating to them where the supports were, the fact that they had not pulled, the fact that they weren't zoning him out, that obviously they were trying to make a rotation like that. They would have known that there was, by scouting their items here as they passed the observer ward, that they were carrying a smoke. So they would have known that that was a very real possibility as well. So a good reaction there coming out from the supports, but we're going to have another snowball onto PZD in the mid lane, but this one unfortunately not the best timed from skuGGi. But he was trying to make use of double damage rune, but not going to pan out for them once again. I haven't really gone over the lanes here, so I'll quickly kind of go over them. I think they're pretty straightforward based on the draft. But we've got Sven up in the top lane with Lion supporting, and of course Tusk supporting as well, but he's been doing kind of more roaming around. Off lane for Rixon Slayer is going to be that Darkseer. Mid lane, we've kind of seen this matchup quite a bit so far, but it's Wind Ranger against Zeus. And in the bottom lane, it's going to be the off-lane Beastmaster for eSphere going up against the support duo of Earth Spirit and Witch Doctor, with, of course, the Spectre farming up. As for early game farm, looks like there is a slight advantage here for the Spectre over the Sven. He's managed to find 5 more last hits already in this game, which is a little bit, I guess, a little bit concerning, the fact that the Sven's falling a little bit behind, but it's not the biggest discrepancy in terms of last hits, so he'll be able to catch back up. But obviously Spectre making being a little bit more efficient with his last hitting there. But the matchup we really want to take our eye on, or keep our eye on, is the mid lane matchup of the Wind Ranger and the Zeus, and see who's winning out there. And it looks like Zeus right now has the advantage at 20-2 versus the Wind Ranger's 17-1. As we typically see mid lanes involving Zeus kind of resulting in both heroes kind of splitting the CS. We don't really see too many denies in those kind of lanes because Zeus is always able to last hit easily with Arc Lightning, and it's very hard to deny against that. And then of course, because he basically uses Arc Lightning to last hit because his attack damage is so poor and his attack animation is so poor, it basically makes it so the opponent has a very easy time lasting as well. So we typically see a lot of last hits, very few denies in kind of those matchups involving the Zeus, but of course harass and all that can very quickly result in very differing last hits if one hero starts taking control of the lane. But I don't really expect that to happen in this matchup. And we're seeing it be pretty close so far, as PZD has actually just gone and picked up his Arcane Boots. As he was quickly checking the top rune, seeing if it was still there, as they focused on securing the bottom rune at the 4-minute mark. But we know from our all-seeing eye of the minimap, being an observer, that was already picked up by eSphere pretty much as soon as it spawned at the 4 minutes. There we go. Mikado Sky is going to use that rune. It's going to be the Invis, as he had it bottled up, and now he's going to try to position himself here on PZD, as Ice Shard's going to fly, and it will trap the Zeus as the Shackle comes in, but there's no trees left there to latch him anything, but it looks like he will still go down. One more attack needed. Mikado Sky not going to find it, as he's going to have to back away. Once again, another nice TP in from the Witch Doctor to try to help out that Zeus in the mid lane, as Zeus will actually crack the Thunder with the Thunder God's Wrath and get our first blood of the game. It was actually on the Sven, as Dig and Schwan had been diving past the tier 1 tower, putting pressure on that Sven. But really good counterplay coming out from Rixon Slayer. They haven't really done too much in terms of aggressive play. Obviously that diving in the top lane, sensing a little bit of weakness there on the end of the Sven was the only aggression we've really seen so far from them. But everything else has been really good reactionary play, predicting what eSphere was going to do and then reacting accordingly and making sure that they weren't going to get any advantage as a result. But that first blood will go to Rixon Slayer as they drop that Sven, and that just was really going to push the Sven further behind this Spectre. He's now behind by 7 CS. But once again, that's not that doesn't spell GG by any stretch of the imagination. But after a brief little pause here, we are going to resume.
Double damage.
And one of the important things for eSphere here is going to be the levels here on Benny, as he just hits 5. We want to see him hit level 6, get that Primal Roar going, so he can go and start ganking. Schwann's in trouble up here in the top lane. Dig was there kind of hiding in the trees, kind of protecting him, but the damage is just too high from SCS and Nair as they come in with the double damage on SCS once again, and now Dig's in trouble. Try to walk through the wall of replicates, and they will get through it, but the Sven stun will fly through and catch him, as eSphere gets their first 2 kills of the game and actually pushes them ahead in terms of kills over Rixon Slayer. And that will definitely help the Sven catch back up. A little bit of assist gold there, so he got both assists. Schwan TP's back up to the top lane. He'll go and check out, or actually he'll just go and place another Observer Ward. It was a little early for him to go for the top rune. It's going to be spawning in about 40 seconds. Again, Benny coming back to this camp that I was talking about in the draft, but once again, we don't really see another hero rotating down and taking advantage of the lane while he does this, as that was pretty much just what people were doing early on in this in the patch when that neutral camp was added, and they realized that it wasn't really worthwhile. There's another crack of the thunder from PZD. We'll find another kill. This time it's on Mikado Sky in the mid lane. As he hit him with the lightning bolt first, and then the Thunder God's Wrath to finish him off. And now he'll go up to the top rune, pick it up, the 8-minute rune. Ice shards will fly in, but it's not going to zone him out. And now skuGGi just gets blown up as there's that global presence from the Spectres. He comes haunting on in, and now Nera's in trouble in the top lane as Rixon Slayer quickly find 2 kills there.
Top tower is under attack.
As Rixon Slayer, I have to say they've been playing some pretty damn good Dota so far. Even though they're only ahead 4-2 and 8.5 minutes in, and this game is still very close. I have to say Rixon Slayer's been playing some pretty good Dota. Like I said, a lot of reactionary play. We haven't seen them kind of pushing their advantage yet too much as they get the top tier 1 tower there. But I think that'll come in a little bit of time. Like I said, they're going to be really strong as we hit that. As we kind of exit the laning phase and we start seeing more roaming around as they start grouping up with their Zeus and constantly having the Spectre haunt in. And we're just about at that point in the game. So this is when Rixon Slayer is really going to kind of hit their stride. So look for them to be a lot stronger in the coming minutes. There's a lot of pings coming out in the mid lanes. Dig. He's going to get snowballed on by skuGGi. But it looks like he'll be able to run back. Ice Shard's going to fly and it won't unfortunately block his path. He'll be able to path through the trees there and get back to the safety of his mid-tier 1 tower. Once again, another observer ward here getting placed by the Radiant, trying to protect their mid-hero. They know there's going to be a lot of pressure being applied on that Zeus from the Tusk snowballing on in. But we haven't seen Esphere been able to connect on one of those kills yet. His drums now getting completed by 14 plus 2. Haven't really seen too many other items getting picked up. We see Zeus picking up his second arcane boots because he split the first one for an Aether Lens. There's action at the bottom rune as the Witch Doctor was moving on in for the 10-minute rune.
Middle tower is under attack.
But he gets back safely. The rune was bottled up by the Wind Rangers just below the camera. We have Benny rotating in from behind as he opens with the Primal Roar. And that's a death for that Witch Doctor. Now a bunch of pings coming out onto the Spectre. They want to come down here and harass him, make sure that he's not able to sit there farming in the bottom lane. But looks like they'll back away from that and start heading back towards the mid lane, just leaving Benny in the bottom lane to farm up. Now TP's coming up here in the top lane from the Witch Doctor as they're getting set to go for some aggression up in the top lane. But we saw earlier the Lion rotated on in, placed this Observer where it's going to completely scout out this rotation.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Radiant structures are fortified.
I thought maybe PZD was going to lightning bolt there. He's putting himself in a position to do so. Oh, they're going to smoke directly under this Observer ward. So Esphere knows the smoke has happened. And they should be able to easily dodge it. Look at the positioning immediately. skuGGi was positioned here right behind Mikado Sky and immediately moves over as they're rotating away from that mid-tier 1 tower gank potential as my camera's going crazy. But Sven, Nera aggressively farming in the jungle will get punished. And that is definitely a mistake on the side of Nera. They definitely knew that smoke was coming. They knew they were moving out from here and they had to know that that was coming. Everyone else on the team was responding to that smoke gank and moving away, and Nera just a slight lapse of judgment there. And unfortunately, he gets punished for it as Rixon Slayer once again find a very valuable kill as they start to take control of the map in this mid game, and now they're going to try to put some pressure on the tier 1 towers as a result of it. Notice the new range indicator on the towers, very kind of talked about addition with this most recent patch. A lot of people not liking it, not liking the addition of this. I don't really understand everyone's complaints about it. I don't really think it does too much to affect this level of play. Schwann's going to get stunned up by Nera, but I believe he should be fine, but maybe not. Yeah, he's going to get shackled to a tree. His team is right there, but Dig not going to be able to help him. So Schwann goes down, and now Dig's in trouble as he'll get trapped by the Ice Shards as eSphere pick up 2 kills and even us up at 5 kills apiece. But going back to that range indicator thing, it's not really something that's going to affect the top tier player. Everyone kind of knows the range of the towers. So, Thunder God's Wrath is completely bursting down skuGGi there. But yeah, I just don't understand all the complaints about it. Not knowing where the spawn boxes are, and then on top of that, the range indicators on the tower. There's notifications all over the map letting you know things. If you think back to the magic bush, no one ever really complained about the magic bush being there, indicating where to place that observer ward. No one ever complained about that. No one ever complained about all the little rocks and everything indicating where the edges of the neutral spawn boxes were. And then on top of that, no one bitched about things like this. This little plant is actually a complete indicator of the tower range. These bones are an indicator of this. This is an indicator of the tower range. And you're just able to draw a circle there. Like, there's things like that all over the map. So I'm not really sure why people were complaining about that. As the indicators were already there, it's just an easier way for new players to get a grasp on tower range as they pick up the game. And on top of that, you can disable it. So not really sure why everyone's complaining about that, but that's my 2 cents on the matter. It looks like we do have kind of even more gap in the action here. So I'll quickly take a look at our gold graph here as we see a slight lead for Rixon Slayers. They're about 2,500 gold ahead, and XP's approaching the 3K mark. But like I said, still pretty close game so far. And obviously eSphere is going to get a good amount of gold here. So they've been stacking up their ancients. That's kind of one of the advantages of having a Beastmaster. You can stack these neutral ancient camps up very quickly, and that allows the Sven to come in as long as you pair that with a hero in the safe lane or even in the mid lane that has the ability to clear ancients early on in the game. It's a big boost to the gold on your team, and it's kind of the enemy team's responsibilities to try to block that. But we didn't see Rixon Slayer really put too much emphasis on that, and well, we saw eSphere get a good chunk of gold there.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Well, we had a push on that tier 2 tower from Rixon Slayer, but eSphere not coming back to defend. They want to go for a trade of the mid tier 1. And I think Rixon Slayer is actually going to send a bunch of heroes back to defend if eSphere sticks around. But no, they get the tier 1 tower and then they back. But just leaving the Spectre up here in the top lane. I think 14+2 would really like him to maybe engage so that he could haunt back, but he's going to try to stick around for this tier 2 tower. Could be a little bit risky. He's going to get down to 122 HP before the glyph comes out. His teammates are kind of close by to support him, but they're starting to back away. The other two are just making their way up through the bottom, or through the top rune. And now Taba is going to start denying this tower. So it looks like the tier 2 is just going to get denied, and we're not going to see engage. But never mind, I'm wrong on that. As Schwan is going to run right into Nara. Nara going to throw a stun up. A nice shackle is going to land on Schwan, tying him up there. But first kill is going to go to Rixon Slayers. They're going to get 2, now 3. As skuGGi is going to be probably the 4th, as he's going to fall down. It's just Mikado left alive as eSphere just completely melts in that team fight. And it looked like a pretty even engagement as Nara was wrapping around the trees. Schwan was coming up the other way. And then there was a great shackle tying Schwan. And, man, I from that moment, it looked actually like a somewhat decent engage for eSphere. And then all of a sudden, there's just too much damage coming in. Between the Thunder God's Wrath from PZD, the Haunt coming in from the Spectre. And it was just a lot of damage. We didn't actually even see Schwan able to place down that wall of Replicate, but it didn't even matter. It didn't matter whatsoever. They just completely demolished that team fight. And now we're going to see an even bigger lead in terms of net worth as Spectre approaching 8k. Now just picks up his Diffusal Blade to go with his urn and his drums. And notice the item build. The fact that he didn't actually go for Radiance. The fact that he went for this more early game centric, fighting centric item build with picking up the urn, picking up the drums, and then saying, okay, well, I need something to be able to catch heroes. I need something to be able to help me do a little bit more damage because I don't have something like a Radiance or a Relic providing that damage. And then on top of that, it's great going up against the Wind Ranger as well, being able to get rid of that wind run and also be able to slow her down so that you can get on top and keep attacking her. So great pickup there. No, I really like the fact that he didn't try to go for a relic. A lot of people seem to think that there's only one way to build Spectre, but I really think knowing what your kind of game plan is on your team and being able to adapt the Spectre's items around that is very, very valuable. As 14+2 could be in trouble here. Snowball going to come in as E-Sphere going very, very deep for this kill. They're going to use the finger bang to try and get it, and man, 14+2 is so tanky, and he's still staying alive. He drops down to 82 HP, but he's going to live, and everyone on the side of E-Sphere is just going to fall over once again. Mikado Sky, the only one living on his team. As, wow, E-Sphere went very, very deep for that kill, and I don't know how. I have no idea how 14+2 managed to survive there, but he did.
Dire's middle tower
And now Mikado Sky going to get hit with the dagger there, but 14+2 not able to get in range to use that Diffusal Blade to further slow down the Wind Ranger. But now more items getting picked up by Rixon Slayer as we'll quickly cycle through them. PZD picks up a Veil, and he also has a Blink Dagger coming in on the Courier right now. Beyond that, Schwann, didn't mention it, but he had his mech. He had that actually in the fight up in the Dire Jungle that went very one-sided in favor of Rixon Slayer. Witch Doctor, typical support items, just your kind of arcane boots, but he is up to another 1,000 gold. Dig, once again, typical support items as well. He does have a Staff of Wizardry, so he'll be looking to upgrade that soon.
Dire's bottom tower
As for E-Sphere, Mikado Sky, on the back of his team losing that the last team fight, he did complete his Aghanim Scepter, so he is going to have that. And that's one thing that E-Sphere is going to have going into the next fight. As for Benny, he's got his Necro Book. Still just level 1, though. So still going to be a little ways before he's got that leveled up. Taba, just Arcane Boots. Nera, he's gone for Treads. Yasha, Helm of the Dominator. He's got 800 gold, but still not the most farm Sven that you'd like to see. As actually missed a kill on Benny as he actually pushed out very far in that bottom lane. Immediately got punished for that. And Rixon Slayer is going to look to take the tower on the back of that.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
But, who did I forget? Oh, I forgot SCS. SCS, just Arcane Boots and a headdress. So I guess that's probably the makings of a mech, but he's a long way out from completing that. Obviously, well behind Schwann's timing, but he's playing a different role. Schwann, Darkseer, offlane. You expect him to get mech up very, very quickly. And he's also just picked up a Blink Dagger as well. As they've claimed that tier 1 tower, now they're going for a tier 2. As E-Sphere kind of up against the ropes right now. 20 minutes into this game, they're down 10 hero kills, and they have no way of taking this team fight. As they're just going to let a bunch of their towers go down here. And really, there's not much they can do. They can sit and farm. Hopefully, Sven's going to have an item coming out soon. But 1,800 gold right now. I imagine his next item's probably going to be a BKB for him to be able to fight. I guess he could go for like something like an S and Y. I'm not really sure if that's going to be enough. It's S and Y is kind of a fight now kind of item, and it does kind of pair with his Yasha. But BKB I think would be very valuable for him. But I don't know if that gives him enough damage in the team fights. It certainly will allow him to stay alive, but he needs damage as well to provide to his team. And if you pick up a BKB now, that's those early charges of BKB, the 10, 9, 8 second BKBs are very, very valuable. And the longer and longer, or later and later into the game, you can delay your pickup of that BKB, the more valuable it's going to become. Because later on, when you're doing a lot of damage on a hard carry, and you're able to just kind of roam free in a team fight for 10 seconds and be pretty much immune to all CC, then well, obviously Primal Roar can cut through that. Then you're going to be a pretty scary force. As SCS is going to get initiated on here. He's going to drop into the snowball, but there's no way out of that. So he's going to go down. 14+2 did use the haunt to get there, as I think they were maybe expecting that to be potentially turn into a bigger fight, but in the end, it's not the worst thing in the world. When he haunts, they get to see everyone on the map. They get to see that it's not a big fight anyways, and they had a guaranteed kill, so they get it. They get the tier 2 tower on the back of that. Now they have the decision of go high ground, fall back to Roche, or just kind of fall back and farm. Looks like they're going to send 2 heroes up to the top lane to stop a push coming out, and they're not going to go for either Roche or high ground. Still playing it pretty safe. I think they they feel like they have no reason to really force anything. So yeah, they're just gonna play it a little bit safer, not really take too many risks. As I'm really wondering what E-Sphere is gonna have going for them. It was a Helm of the Dominator, or sorry, not a Helm of the Dominator, an Armlet of Morrigan picked up by Nara. So once again, another one of those items that's gonna give him some good damage, but it's also gonna give him some survivability. I actually like that pickup. I think it's a pretty smart pickup, and actually it's one of those more standard Sven item pickups. But I was a little bit surprised to see him kind of waiting a little bit with some of the item purchases there and waiting until he could purchase the whole thing at once. Given that I don't believe he had too much reliable gold that he was trying not to spend. There we go. Benny picks up Necrobook 2. So that's coming along. Really, they want that Necrobook 3 up soon so that they can help start, or so they can start cutting down some of these wards and give them a little bit more vision. This one Deep Observer ward from Rixon Slayer is actually giving them a lot of information. Every single time they kind of, E-Sphere rotates through this mid lane, they know exactly where they're going, as they just saw Nara rotate through as he was heading up towards the top lane, so they know he's going to be in the jungle. Look at this, immediately on the mini-map, it gets circled right now. Schwann indicating where he is. They're also circling the fact that Roche could be a possibility, or maybe they're indicating that they could go there. But now they're going to start moving up into the Dire jungle. They will pass over a Dire Observer ward, and immediately Sentry ward gets placed. They did actually have a gem on Dig, so they didn't really need to place that Sentry ward. But making sure that they cut down that vision immediately. An Observer ward getting placed up on the pillar here. There was already a Sentry there. So that'll get countered. Now E-Sphere will lose their Sentry. Still pretty cautious from Rixon Slayer. They're doing all. This is kind of textbook for Protect 1. They're staying together as 4. They're just trying to control areas of the map and put pressure on E-Sphere, forcing them to move around while the Spectre just sits and farms. And this is pretty much best played with the Spectre as your support, or as your hard carry, because he can, like I said, just easily haunt into these team fights. So if these 4 heroes do get into a big engage, they're trying not to get into a big team fight, but if they do sense one and they have a good engage, then they can take it and immediately the Spectre can haunt on in. Notice Rixon Slayer were kind of homing themselves, or kind of sticking around that area that they just cleared, so they know there's no Observer wards around there. Of course, with the gem that allows them to make sure that there's nothing else there, and then they smoke on the back of it. Now they're unfortunately not able to catch anyone from E-Sphere, but they will be doing a little bit of counter warding here. As the ping spams keep coming out, waiting for the Zeus to zap again. Finally, PZD will, as they're going to get a kill there, and ooh, skuGGi and Mikado. We're going to start moving up there onto the high ground. Mikado isn't fizzed from the Shadow Amulet, but it doesn't matter. He just immediately gets bursted down. skuGGi falls as well, and with those 2 heroes dead on the side of E-Sphere, they could very easily lose a set of racks here, as Rixon Slayer move up, start beating on the tier 3, and there's no buybacks coming out from either of these heroes. They don't have them available, as the Beastmaster goes down as well, and immediately no buyback coming out from him as well. So this is pretty telling to Rixon Slayer. Say, you know what, they obviously don't have any buybacks. You know, maybe if we moved on to the high ground, we would have got 1, possibly 2 buybacks there. Then we could back away. If we only got 1, we maybe back away, go for Roche. Then they found that kill on the Beastmaster, and with 3 dead, no buybacks coming out, it's an easy set of racks to take, and they will drop that mid-melee racks. They're even going to stick around for the range racks. As they're going to go forward, they're going to find another kill on skuGGi. As E-Sphere needs to be careful not to just die one after another and just lose the game outright. The Pengas have come out from Rixon Slayer to go back and take Roche here, which is definitely a safer play than trying to stick around in E-Sphere's base. And look at the items coming out. We've got a Manta completed on 14+2. We've got PZD just completing an Octarine core. What does Schwann have? He finished his GG boots. He's got a plate mail as well picked up. Dig. We saw him pick up the Force Staff a little bit earlier, but he's picked up another energy booster. Got the Witch Doctor working towards an Aghanim Scepter. He's got 2,200 gold, so he's about 800 away from completing that Aghanims. And I don't know if Rixon Slayer is going to be able to be stopped here. Roche, they are kind of taking their time with Roche, and this might be an opening for E-Spheres. They're going to start moving their way down. And look at this, Rixon Slayer, they're going to have to respect the fact that E-Sphere was moving out of their base. And they'll have to pull out of the Roche pit.
What have we
They were potentially going to use the Thunder God's Wrath there, but PZD is going to cancel it. As the Satyr Tormentor will be able to get into the Roche pit, give them knowledge of the HP of Roche. But look at this, Rixon Slayer playing so safe, trying to back away. They don't know how close E-Sphere is. They do know from the bottom where a couple heroes are, and immediately they pounce, drop 3 very, very quickly. And now Nera trying to come in, trying to snake the Roche kill. He won't get the kill on Roche, but he will get the Aegis. But he's going to go down, and he's the only one left alive for E-Spheres. He's going to respawn. The GGs are already called. No faith in this Sven to be able to 1v5, as I don't think anyone thought that was a very real possibility. But yeah, very kind of one-sided game. It was pretty even in the laning phase, but like I said, as soon as we were coming out of that laning phase, getting into the kind of the mid-game, we're going to see Rixon Slayer really start taking control of the game with their lineup. We saw them just kind of hit the ground running, and wow, they kind of took that game pretty one-sided in the end. It went from, I believe it was 5 hero kills to 5 hero kills at one point, and it ended 25-5. So, yeah, it was pretty much all Rixon Slayer for the next 20 kills past that point. But that's going to wrap it up for our semifinals. We're going to have Rixon Slayer advance to the finals, where they're going to be playing up against the 4 Goons and Noble Wings. So that should be a pretty good match. Like I said earlier, we had the 4 Goons and Noble Wings play up against Wolves, which was a pretty stacked lineup with Pendago, Dark Falco, Purge, Tykin, and Justin. And they were able to pretty easily roll all over them. So I think we're pretty set for a great grand final. So I'm looking forward to that. Once again, it's the last Sunday of the month, and that means $100 is on the line. So these players playing for a little bit more than they normally do. It's not just the bragging rights, it's bragging rights and a little bit of pizza money. But we'll be back in just a few minutes with that grand finals. Once again, to everyone, thanks so much for joining us and sticking with us tonight, as we do have that one more game left, and hopefully you will stick around for it. Once again, guys, I was Niz, and we'll be back shortly.